Good morning. Today is Good Friday. The music, Johann Sebastian Bach, The Passion of St. John. Could you imagine being a child in 1723 in Leipzig, Germany? Of course, it wasn't called Germany in those days. And having to go to service in the Lutheran church that Johann Sebastian Bach composed in, and of course directed the choir and everything. And have to sit through this whole work. I mean, when I was a kid, going to St. Mary's at 12 noon on Good Friday seemed like a long eternity. But this album, this work takes like 6 sides of records. And that's just the Passion Gospel. Well, anyways, Good Friday, of course, is about fasting and abstinence. But unlike our Jewish brothers and sisters who fast 100%, we of course fast with one full meal and little things on the side. So we're going to have a little breakfast this morning. Capirotada, inspired by my Easters and Good Fridays in Mexico in the late 1980s, where I learned a lot more than I think I ever learned about the Triduum I could have ever imagined. Wherever you are today, watching this, I send you my blessings and prayers as I make today's breakfast. A fasting breakfast is what it is, meant to stave off all the little hunger pains of the day, prayers to be said, services to be attended, time spent alone, meditating, and a little bread to enjoy, thinking about the sacrifice is what this recipe was all about. We of course have the bread cut up. It actually resembles French toast when it's all said and done. And for this bread, I use a nice big loaf of pan de agua, a Caribbean style bread that, interestingly enough, I found in Rome at Price Chopper. To go along with it, this is the anise syrup that I made last night while I was lighting the candles of Holy Thursday on the altar here at home. Again, one of those things influenced by Mexico. We have egg whites and egg yolks, ricotta cheese, and believe it or not, raisins and peanuts to adorn things. So let's start. First thing I have to do is take just a pinch of salt and put it in the egg whites. Not much, don't want much sodium. And of course I'm not going to use adobo for this, because who wants pepper in their egg whites? Unless of course you're eating them on top of your eggs, but that's a different story. Then I take the electric mixer and mix the whites until they're nice, big, and fluffy. That's the thing about making anything on Good Friday. You just take all the time it needs. See how they're beating up? They're all bubbling. Looks like they become bigger than they were sitting in the bowl just a minute ago. And meanwhile, in the pan, we got some olive oil heating. That's of course going to make our Capirotada bread, which has been sitting out all night, by the way, because it's got to get nice and crusty in order to take on the egg batter. This will get it nice and brown. Olive oil, of course, the most nutritious you can find. Now that our whites are nice and stiff, I'm going to take the yolks and fold them in. Just kind of stirring them in with a spatula. And our oil is getting nice and hot. Now it's time to take the bread. And I'm going to lay out a paper towel on the plate. I take the bread, I dip it in, take it down, and put it on the batter. And in the oil, get nice and brown. There we go. Dip it in on them, get it nice and covered on both sides, and into the pan it goes. And it's going to brown up, and you'll have capirotada. Time to turn everything. See how brown we got it. Oh, look at that. Beautifully brown. I used to see regular French toast made this way sometimes when you go out for breakfast to a restaurant. I haven't seen that in years though. French toast made this way. Of course I don't go out for French toast much more these days. Just pretty much make it at home. So, what you gonna do, you know? And you gotta kind of separate them. These will stick. And when it's already on both sides, and when you take things off, you just shake off the excess oil, put it on the platter with the towel so it'll drain. Looking good. Looking yummy. Now that I've taken up a platter full, we're going to spread on some ricotta cheese and sprinkle the raisins and the peanuts. Take a little ricotta out. And of course I always use fat-free ricotta. And just kind of spread it over the top. You can use other variations too, goat cheese or farmer's cheese. Something that's white. You don't just put Cheese Whiz or something on it. That wouldn't really go well. A few peanuts over it. Not a lot. You can just shake a few out of the bottle. The Dorn's good enough. Handful of raisins. And ladle up a little of this nice homemade anise syrup. And just kind of drizzle it over the top. And there's capirotada, a fasting breakfast on a fasting day. My blessings to everyone out there for a blessed Good Friday and a happy Easter.